Sports for Real with Coach Hall. You know, there's an old time saying by old time street hustlers that you hustle to square up. By that they mean you do whatever it takes. You hustle as hard as you can to get to a point where you don't have to do that anymore. So once you get enough stored away and you don't have to take any more chances, then you can turn your back on that. Well, Ja Morant of the Memphis Grizzlies, he's hustling backwards. Why? Because the man has made it to the top, but yet he's doing stuff that can get him into a jam. In other words, he's hustling backwards. Here's a guy who's a star of the NBA, and what I understand is he's got a 5-year, $193 million contract, which means he's making about $100,000 a day, and yet he's acting like some knucklehead on the street corner that has nothing. Last week, it was reported that he was in the club looking like he was brandishing a gun. What I saw looked like he was throwing some signs up and hanging with some fellas that he probably shouldn't be hanging with. As a result, he's been suspended for a couple of games by the league, but it's going to cost him more down the line if he doesn't clean up what he's doing. But what I can tell just by looking at that video and the kind of things he's doing, it looks like he's drunk with the culture that's emphasized in rap music, and that doesn't lead you very, very far. For instance, about 30 years ago, 92 to be exact, there was this guy in Texas by the name of Ronald Ray Moore. The guy had a busted tail light. The state trooper pulls him over. He pulls out a gun and shoots the cop, kills him. When they took him in and asked him, well, why'd you do that? He said, well, I was listening to Tupac and he made me do it. Well, he might have made him do it in his mind, but in reality, he was convicted with the death penalty and he was executed 13 years later. When I think about this Morant guy, he seems to be drunk on the culture of rap, and he's doing stuff to try to fit into something that he don't need to even be tied up with. And that's disappointing. So where does it all come from? I heard Paul Pierce say that, you can't criticize a guy for doing what he's doing because you don't know what he's dealing with. Paul is saying that because he got stabbed early in his career like 11 times and had to go emergency surgery to save his life. So after that, he started carrying weapons to protect himself, which is very understandable. But this guy don't seem to be going through those type of things. He's just putting himself into situations that he don't need to be in. Not only this situation that occurred at the club, he's said to have pointed a gun at the Indiana Pacers bus with the laser on it to try to prove some kind of tough point. There's also an incident where his mother called him from a store to try to come break up the situation. Well, that's a problem in itself also. Why is she calling him, the big money man, to come take care of a problem that somebody like maybe her husband or somebody can do? You're putting the man in a bad situation. I don't think nobody else is making $193 million, so why would you call and put this man in a bad situation? Yeah, I understand what you're saying. It's not me, and I don't have nothing to do with it. Fine. But I do know common sense. And right now, a guy that's making $193 million over 5 years, $100,000 a day, got no business getting himself tied up into silly crap like he's doing now. So, he ties in with the Ronald Ray Howard situation in that he's influenced by outsiders. And if you can't separate reality from music and the influence of people who are using you, basically, to try to come up, then you're going to lose anyway. So I'm hoping that the kid who's a rising star in the league, he can get himself together. Because right now, it looks like he's going to be headed for a short career. So let's hope that Mr. Morant can get his act together and put a spin on this and make everything into a positive direction. This is Sports for Real.